All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Pritam Prasun, and thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you for trusting me with your time, and I hope we will learn something together out of this session. The idea is that we will keep it semi-technical. I'll talk about some of my experiences, which I have learned over roughly a decade of my experience working with Drupal. I remember when I was a student, I started with Drupal 5, and and that was basically a technology festival site I was trying to build with CMS, and I compared Joomla and Drupal, and I end up working with Drupal, and somehow love with Drupal, started there. So, but in recent times, things has changed, right? So I want to talk about what we as a digital agency are experiencing, and also what are the different variables which has changed over the decades, especially during the recent times, and how are we making decisions about selecting the right CMS, right technology for providing the right solution to our customers. So. Uh, okay, when I go to the presentation mode, strange. Okay, let's be here. So, I co-founded this company, OpenSense Labs, in 2016. Uh, uh, right now, we are working across different verticals and from different geography. We have our presence in United States, Frankfurt, Germany, and India. So 3 locations are covered, and mostly we started as a Drupal shop. We have diversified. We try to deliver solutions across different domains, and recently we started as a vertical in OpenSense itself as AI, but we ended up creating a new company for AI because that's how it is going. I mean, that's where the demand is. I'll move forward and let's talk about what has been happening. But before we do that, I would like to understand a little bit about you guys. Like, how many of you are core from development, like technical background? Okay, and how many of you are currently into, say, more in the side of customer interaction, like talking to your clients? And okay, perfect. So, especially if you are with marketing sales, if you remember, there were times when we used to pitch our client that let's use Drupal for rapid prototyping, right? I mean, we will use existing modules and we will create the prototyping very, very quickly. Do you think the time is still the same? We can say that. I personally differ. I feel that the time has passed. We cannot say that anymore because the different tools, like let's say, um, how many of you have seen Lovable recently and the graph? Like, it has become the fastest company to reach $100 million of revenue, right? Even like beyond ChatGPT and other initiatives. So if you're looking for a rapid prototyping, right, what we used to earlier in early back in days used to talk to our clients, that has it's not anymore, in most of the cases are valid, because with these tools we can create the prototypes very, very quickly, functional prototypes. Okay, we can talk to the tools, provide them design guidelines, and they can do it for us, right? Now the question is like, where does Drupal stand then? Why still Drupal can win the race, or still run in the race, right? And that's all the factors I'll try to quickly cover. And I would really welcome if some of you have to share anything which you have learned from experience. these are the something which I have noted, like the rise of AI platforms are like very rapid. We are seeing change every other day. Of course, we started with low code, no code platforms, right? SaaS CMS is also something which is really catching up, like Wix or let's say Framer AI. So these all are like, if you look at it, one thing is common, that they are good, they are fast, they deliver the 90% of the requirement within like minutes. Like you give it a prompt and they do it, right? Now these are the impact of AI. So if you want to do an MVP, like for example, when we were creating this new company for AI, we call it Responsible AI Labs. So we wanted to build a site. We didn't go to our Drupal development team. Okay, the AI team just went ahead. They created quick with landing pages and contact us, all those integrations, even with the Google Gemini in Next.js, and they deployed it within like 2-3 hours, and the site was ready. Even if you open it right now, let's say, I mean, I can do that as well. This is a AI generated site. You can see from the look and feel as well, right? I mean, it's a little bit clean, not very design intensive, because if you go a little bit deeper into the design, then you can mess up. You can end up spending a lot of time. So this is what we created. It also has like integration with the scheduler assistant, which schedules call. You can call and schedule appointment, etc. Coming back to our original, so it does the MVP really well. Okay, the modern tools, and let's not ignore the fact. I mean, we cannot go and still sell Drupal for rapid prototyping. That's what I honestly believe today, and we have stopped doing that as well as a agency practice. Now, for example, AI can also provide you automated designs, right? So Figma also has different plugins. Now you can just extract with Figma tokens. If you use the right practice, you can extract the complete design in a minute with from Figma to, let's say, Next.js component or different components. And even internally, we have started reducing development time by using AI tools or AI enabled IDs, right? So they just write codes very quickly for you. So, and one of the most important thing, which is going to be the future of web, is personalized web. Okay, and that is somewhere AI is really again very powerful. It does it well. So these are the AI impacts which we are seeing, but there are trade-offs. Let's assume that we are building, for example, this responsible AI side. You are building this application for, let's say, healthcare or government, right? Now, you can build the pages very quickly, but you cannot build the entire workflow. Like you cannot build, let's say, content publishing workflow with AI. I mean, it's not right to say cannot. You can, but you would not like to do that. Let's imagine a case that I'm building the pages, then again the management workflow. So I'm trying to end up building a CMS, right, with AI. Now, who guarantees, who takes the owner of this CMS? That CMS is, let's say, security compliant or accessibility compliant, etc. So these are the challenges which will happen if we try to build complex or enterprise scale sites with AI tools available. And this is the first part of the session I'm going to talk about. I mean, I'm already actually talking about it. And then in the next part, I'm going to show you some of the applications where how we made the decision and ended up doing something where Drupal plays a role, but the role which it is good at, like managing content, managing workflows and all, but offloading other aspect, like let's say heavy transaction management, activity management, etc., to microservices. Okay, so let's quickly move on. Well, so roughly we talked about it, that AI speeds up front end development, right? Have you seen the recent change in, let's say, front-end development, like agencies are not looking for pure UI developers, like HTML or CSS developers. Have you seen that trade-off? This is the very close impact of AI, which is very close to us. Like we have realized, like even in our agencies, we have started reducing that count because of the simple reason that these are kind of iterative work, right? And the tools are very much capable to do it. So, so, so of course, it enhances the front end control, and the other thing with let's say CMS like Drupal is that it gives us capability at different level that we can inject, or maybe we can, let's say, so we have, let's say, triggers, webhooks. So at different layers we can inject AI decision making or AI generation. Eventually, what Gen AI is doing is that best guessing the next token, right? I mean, this is the basic fundamental principle of Gen AI. Now, you cannot, as a compliance site, you cannot rely on this guess 100%. You need human reviews, right? And CMSs like Drupal has been built over the time, it has evolved, right? I mean, just now I was talking to one of my friend, and he gave me a number, like how many security issues we have faced on Drupal, including on all the contributed modules, right? Versus WordPress. Any guess? Anybody knows the number? So it's Drupal has seen 6,000 incidents so far, while WordPress has seen 3 times 18,000 incidents. That's why you might have seen like the trend that people want to move away from WordPress to Drupal if they are very much concerned about security, and also with the recent issues which happened in the WordPress, like the founding members, they feel that the you are nodding your head with
Yeah, that whole drama.
yeah, the lawsuits, etc. Right? Yeah, perfect. And I feel really bad about that incident because Drupal has DXP now, and in fact, it's going to be launched in DrupalCon Vienna. And if at that time we had something like DXP, mature DXP in Drupal, we could have leveraged it as a Drupal community very well. But I mean, nevertheless, it's here, so it's good about it. Um, well, so let's talk about some of the things that why Drupal still stand. But before I say that, I want to say that Drupal is not the answer to everything. Like it's not a yes in every case, and I want to go through that framework as well at the end. So so one is that it has enterprise grade scalability, right? So when I talk about scalability, I talk both in terms of, let's say, performance, right? So you can design your Drupal infra in a way that it can scale to a great extent, but at the same time, I'm also talking about the scalability of the functionality, like you the modularity of the CMS itself allows us to extend or overbuild infinitely over a project. Now this is something I just spoke about, like the security and compliance readiness is something which makes us also sort of prone to choose Drupal. One of the things we have recently done at Open Census, we have created a product called Drupal Fit. So Drupal Fit is a tool which provides 360-degree audit capability and continuous compliance. I'm sorry. What do I mean by continuous compliance is that when you add your Drupal site, when you enable it with Drupal Fit, you also get a webhook. Let me show. So this is basically Drupal Fit. So it does audit from, let's say, performance perspective, accessibility, right, SEO, and then security. Okay, you can do a security scan at different level and see, whether what kind of vulnerabilities the application might have. Then in the compliance, this is the webhook URL. So in your deployment pipeline, you can just integrate it, and every time you deploy something, it checks for all the compliances, whether accessibility has gone wrong with the current deployment or whether it is good. So all the notifications you receive as well. And I have a small token for Drupal Fit. This is a NFC card I have kept on the chair. So if you want to collect, feel free. It's there on the chair, last chair there. So yeah, coming back, it gives you, and this tool, building this tool was easy with Drupal because the compliance and the security is in the DNA of Drupal, and it made us easy to come up with this tool and provide it as a. I mean, we started serving our client first, but later on we have released it as SaaS itself. I was here. Well, it provides us flexible integration, right? So Drupal after 10, I would say, is like API native. So I mean, a lot of time, in fact, it gives a very good competition to even the headless CMSs. So how many of you have experience with using any headless CMS? Which one?
Contentful.
Okay.
And payload.
Okay. So I used Strapi as well and Contentful. I wanted to try something in JavaScript, like JavaScript based headless CMS. I found it was good, okay, but the moment I finalized that okay, Strapi is something we are going to use, in midway somewhere I started regretting, because for everything else I was very used to having something in Drupal, like let's say I want to do SEO, I need SEO modules, for example, so I had like meta tags or URL rewrite or all the modules readily available and tested over the period. But for example, in Strapi, I had to do a lot of customization. My team spent a lot of time, and we started evaluating that if you would have used Drupal as the CMS, you would have really saved a lot of time on that. But again, that's a different domain. It's maturing as well, and it in some cases it is still very, very powerful. Now again, so Drupal has proven government and workflow and governance record, right? So you have different level of, let's say, roles you can define, and all the actions you can tag with the roles, like what permissions it has. So one of the best thing, even in the early days, I liked is two things basically. One is taxonomy, and another one was this roles and permissions, the matrix, where you define the granularity of Drupal. So, and of course, all of us together, that large and reliable community we have, and it helps. If you know the uses of Drupal, like Drupal is, I think, the highest use is in education, right? Then it's like government, and then it goes to other sectors. And probably the reason is because it has that strong background and strong review process, and over the period it has evolved like what it is today. I now want to discuss one of the case studies where we faced all the challenges, and where we learned how to sort of what we have to do in the current scenario if we have to select a proper CMS. So I'll come to it. Let me see if presentation works. Oh. Yes, it's better. So Edredo, or Forest for Farming. So Edredo is a LMS we have built. It's a super scalable LMS. We built with some of the frustrated clients who came to us, who were really pissed off with what Opino was doing, right, and the slow sort of slowness or blockers they were facing from there. So we started there. I think it was 4 years ago when we started building this platform. So Idrido is a super scalable, distributed. I mean, it's the architecture is really distributed in microservices. So it's not pure Drupal. I'm just mentioning it in at front because we ended up reaching there. So we started building something like Opino, right? And then we started facing problems. So how many of you have experience working with LMS? Perfect.
Not in Drupal, but
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, the experience is same. So working with LMS has a quiz feature, for example, right, in learning management, and working with quiz is really challenging, right? So for example, what happens is if a quiz is scheduled for 10 o'clock and if it is a stricted quiz, like it will run from 10 to 12, everybody is going to start at 10, right? So you know the kind of traffic it will create at 10. So now if you look at that kind of transaction heavy application which requires to either you warm up your infrastructure in advance, right, and that also might break. I mean, infra is not always the solution, right? You might have seen, like, you increase infra, it will create a lot of cost, but at the same time problem is not solved if you don't try to get into the root and try to solve the problem, right? So it starts at 10, right, and it creates a lot of traffic at the time, and most of the, if for example if we stick to something like Opino, it will break for sure. Okay, the quiz will break. So the alternate is that people keep, like, let's say, okay, quiz is alive for entire day, okay, you can attempt any time, so that traffic is distributed. So what we did here, for example, first, should we use Drupal? Yes or no? Drupal is still very powerful in content management, right? We don't have to forget that. So we can always use Drupal for question management, right? So we can have, let's say, complex workflow for question creation, editing, etc. But at the same time, the complex part is quiz taking, which is transaction heavy. You cannot keep it on Drupal. Okay, it's a risk. So what we did here, we moved quiz taking out of Drupal. We created a layer with AWS Lambda and DynamoDB, where when the quiz is ready to take, it goes to that layer. So there is no interaction with Drupal at all. Now it scales infinitely. It can maybe hundred of thousands of users can attempt, because there is literally no dependency on CMS. Okay, and then quiz submission is easy because it happens in distributed way. Okay, if all of us start quiz at 10, we will submit in our pace, right? You might take more time, somebody else can take less time. So once the quiz is submitted, you submit it back to the CMS one by one. Now CMS again can evaluate all the aspect can happen. So you are still using the power of CMS, but you are offloading the hard work to services like AWS Lambda or similar services. So this is what we build, like 50 plus multi-tenant application is running. Like Forest for Farming is one of the example. They have Forest for Farming University running on Edrido. We built like 50 plus applications. I'll show you quick. Yeah, and now coming to the modern technologies like AI. So how would you use AI? We will use AI to automate our stuff where human effort can be reduced. Okay, so that's what we did here. So for example, if somebody wants to ask a question or let's say post something, we use AI to generate suggestion, right? Similarly, if let's say while creating the quiz, I want to create question, we use AI to create and suggest question. It will maybe ask some parameters so that it generates the right question, and then we submit. Another thing which AI can help, for example, we could never imagine this earlier, is evaluating subjective questions. So if it is, let's say, true, false, MCQ, you can always evaluate automatically. But Now with AI, you can also evaluate subjective questions with certain parameters, like let's say English proficiency or something like that. We can provide the parameters, and AI can always evaluate that. Similarly, generating interaction to videos. Now, interactive videos you might all have seen, right? So what happens is, like video, while playing video, it pauses, it asks you a question, right? Now, adding that question at the right moment is also a very human intensive task. You have to go to the timeline, find the right question for the timeline and do it. Now, with AI, you can do it automatically, like Whisper AI can sort of analyze entire audio, right? And generate question and gives you in the right that okay, these are the two suggestions, you apply. Once you apply, you just add questions, right? So the and again, this is my evaluation, but can AI tools replace CMS platforms? Okay. The truth is that AI speeds of content generation, right? It speeds of a lot of course, development processes can be modified. In fact, every agency is right now trying to automate, their processes. Everybody is crazy about agentic AI, right? But there is a time it will reach where we will be able to say certainly that okay, now AI can replace CMS. At this moment, uh, I see that it's far. We have not reached there. So for decision makers, we can still convince them that you need time. I mean, it's not gonna happen in like next say 2 years or so. So for 2 years, 3 years, it's not gonna happen that CMS will be replaced. But the good part is that all the intense work which human used to do can be replaced by AI. Okay. So that's something. Uh, is I believe now another thing is like uh, yeah, so one of the thing which has been trendy for Drupal is that Drupal has a steep learning curve. Do you remember that famous learning curve, like that, right?
The cliff.
Yeah. So it is changing, right? And I believe community is really working well in this direction now with different recipes and all. We are making Drupal as easy as possible, and not everybody has to learn Drupal to the depth of where developer needs to be there. So onboarding is faster and easier now. Um, so again, believe or somebody can say that AI can handle all compliance and security needs. We can never say that it's impossible. I mean, we are seeing an age where things are changing very fast, right? And there might be a time where we reach there, but at this moment, everything in that aspect needs review, human review. AI might give us a suggestion, AI can enable us, make it very fast, but it has to go through expert reviews and all, right? So and at the same time, the proven CMS frameworks, like for example Drupal in this case, or there may be others, so we cannot just, I mean, it has been built over multiple reviews. Like there is a complete security team reviewing every patch which is going on, or there is a workflow. Like we cannot just replace it with AI over time. So again, for rapid prototyping, building quick pages, making site live, let's say for marketing team, if they want to run a campaign and driving a landing page which derives leads, etc., Drupal could not be the best option. It has to be evaluated. AI tools could be better, but where we need workflows, compliances are there, like following GDPR, HIPAA kind of compliances. Uh, it cannot just be relied on AI applications. Again, free low-code AI builders can scale like Drupal. So here, if we talk about scale to handle the traffic, that's no question in this case. it's more about building newer pages, right? So if you want to use, let's say, any AI tool, think about this. Like if you want to add another blog on a site, let's say, for example, Wix, okay, or similar to, let's say, uh, a stable site on Drupal. I still believe that with considering all the compliances and following all the principles, Drupal is going to be easy in this case as well. So that's my take. Now this is the framework which we use internally as OSL as the team. First, if what is, you have to always ask five parameters. Look at the five parameters. The first one is scalability and flexibility. If we are looking for a really scalable environment where, for example, today, okay, oh, okay, oh yeah. For example, if we have to build something like Twitter, where transaction is like millions of transactions happening every second, right? You would not like to do it with Drupal. But let's say if you are building an application, for example, press and media, right? So something for media, Drupal is the right choice because you get a powerful content workflow. Editors can review, all those aspects can happen, and AI can always play a role to automate the processes. So again, you have to see like whether AI readiness, integration readiness is there. So Drupal AI initiatives are really taking Drupal to that place, right? And the best part is that it's independent of any AI framework. You can use your favorite, let's say, model, but you get to integrate it with Drupal very easily. So that's something which makes Drupal a eligible candidate. But in this framework, you have to evaluate whether with the current requirement, with AI integration, what's the right choice. Again, you have to look at the principally you have to look at the requirement and see that what is the client is looking for and what kind of client you are working for. So if you're working for example, government or healthcare or education, then you have to look at the compliance, take the compliance very seriously, and then again evaluate your options. Security and control, and finally it comes to the cost, that what is the readiness of the client, what is the paying capacity of the client to own the product, right? So there also you have to evaluate, and open source has been always proven to be the right choice, especially in the case of government, healthcare and education. So that's overall my experience. I welcome any question or any other experience if you want to add. All right then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your time.